Hi, I'm Laura Jacob, registered dietitian from Christie Clinic, and I'm here at Common Ground Food Co-op classroom, and I'm going to talk about tomatillos today. Tomatillos are kind of like a tomato, only they're kind of a lot smaller than most slicing tomatoes or Roma tomatoes. They're also known as a Mexican husk tomato or a Mexican green tomato. They're usually kind of yellow or green or sometimes purple when they're ripe, and they have this husk on them, which is actually, the husk is not edible, but it's kind of papery, leathery. But underneath you have a little, you just peel that off before you cook it, and it has kind of a sticky residue. You can just wash that off. But when you take it off, it just looks like a little tiny green tomato. They kind of have a tart, crisp flavor, so they don't taste a lot like tomatoes, but they're pretty good raw, kind of fresh and almost crispy and definitely tart. And they can be used raw or you can roast them. The most common use for them is to make salsa verde, which is a green salsa. And you can use that on a lot of different things, like you would use red salsa as well. They're very nutritious. They're a good source of vitamin C, high in fiber, and they're low in calories. They contain some antioxidants called zeaxanthin and lutein, and both of those are kind of healthy for your eyes. And so that's all good stuff. So you want to choose them that are kind of firm. They're always just kind of firm. If they're soft, then they're probably a little overripe. And they should kind of fill that husk fairly well. Be mostly covered or partially covered with the husk. That'll be a good tomatillo. I'm just going to go ahead and peel that off since you've seen the husk now. For short-term storage, you can just keep them at room temperature with the husk on for up to 7 days, or refrigerate them for up to 2 weeks. If you need to store them for longer, then you would remove the husk and put them in a plastic bag and keep them in the refrigerator for 3 to 4 weeks. And so if you need to store them longer than that, you can just freeze them. You can freeze them whole or dice them up and just put them in a freezer bag, or you could process them, puree them into like a salsa, or just puree them to make a salsa later, and freeze them, or you can can them. So they're really pretty versatile. Today I'm gonna make actually roasted tomatillos with red onions. So it's a really simple dish. And then from there, we're gonna take that product, the roasted product, and that can be eaten in a wrap or over rice with some black beans. And then I'm gonna take some more of them and make them into salsa verde. So that's gonna be really tasty. So you wanna husk your tomatillos and wash them off so they're not sticky, and then you can there's a little bit of a tough stem end. I think if you missed removing it, it wouldn't be that noticeable. It's not like a bigger tomato. They actually are in the tomato family, the nightshade family, but they're not a tomato. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove those little husks, those little stem ends, and I'm going to just quarter them like this. And then I've got some more of them over here that are quartered up. I'm going to go ahead and quarter up this red onion, and that's going to be roasted with our quartered tomatillos until it's kind of soft and caramelized. Actually going to put some garlic wedges in with it, some garlic cloves in with it to roast, that we can add to our salsa verde. So we just need to kind of peel my onion the rest of the way and remove that tough outer skin. That will not soften up very well. And then I'm gonna just maybe do like a couple of cuts like that. And put these into a bigger bowl. Maybe break those up a little bit. Okay, I've got some of the core there. And you're gonna heat your oven to about 375, 400. And I'm gonna put the tomatillos in there. I'm gonna just get 1 or 2 garlic cloves and put those with this to just kind of roast and mellow the flavor and everything for our salsa verde. I like to crush my garlic a little bit so that it actually just comes out of the peel better and it gives it a little bit more flavor, releases more of the flavor. And I'm gonna just drizzle this with some olive oil and toss it a little bit and then put it in the oven. Just a little bit of coverage for all of the pieces. Don't want to overdo the oil. It is a heart healthy oil, but it's still high in calories. So that's all covered, and I'm just gonna put it on a baking sheet with parchment paper. And spread that out. And I'm gonna go ahead and put my garlic over here by itself so it roasts, and I can keep it separate from the roasted tomatillos and red onion. And I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the oven, and that's gonna be 20 to 30 minutes. Just keep an eye on it so it should get softened and maybe a little bit caramelized. So our roasted tomatillos and red onions are nice and soft and a little bit caramely and a little bit charred, and they're ready to serve on rice or in a tortilla or a wrap with maybe some black beans. So I have some corn tortillas here, some nice soft corn tortillas, and I'm gonna put a little black beans in there for some protein and some more substance. And then I'm gonna just put some of the tomatillos and red onions on top of that. And I'm gonna reserve, because I wanted to make salsa verde as well, so I'm gonna reserve some of this for the salsa verde, or green salsa. So that looks nice, that's a good amount. So I'm gonna set that aside for now. Maybe when we make our salsa verde, can serve some over the top of that and make it nice and juicy. So I'm ready to make the salsa verde now. So I've got a food processor over here. I've got roasted tomatillos and red onions and a couple of cloves of garlic in there. And so I'm just gonna put that into the food processor. Whoops. You could make a bigger amount too. I just made a small amount here today. And then, so the garlic, the tomatillos, the red onion are in there nice and roasted. And actually, salsa verde can be made about 100 different ways. So some people make it from all raw ingredients. Some people grill the tomatillos and the onions. Some people roast them. So lots of different ways to make it. But it's just a nice, refreshing kind of sauce to put over things. And then I'm gonna put in a jalapeno. I'm just gonna cut it up and remove the ribs and the seeds, because that doesn't taste good and the seeds are super hot, which I don't personally like. Get those seeds out of there. So just gonna throw that jalapeno in there. I've got some cilantro. You've got to have some cilantro in there. So I'm just gonna cut off a bunch, a decent size handful. I love cilantro. I guess it depends on how much you like it, how much you want to put in there. And actually, I really don't even need to cover it up. So just kind of put some of that in there. And then lime juice. Gotta have some lime juice to bring it all together. So not too many seeds. I'm just gonna squeeze it right into the bowl. You might wanna look and make sure you're not squeezing seeds into the bowl. Okay, so I'll get some extra lime juice in there. That'll also keep it fresh for longer, the lime juice will. So everything's ready to go in there. And I'm just gonna pulse it and see how that looks. So I'm just gonna process this till it's all nice and saucy and smooth. I might need to scrape it down a couple times to get everything worked in there. This is a nice bright one because it's got some color from the red onion and all of the cilantro. Okay, so I think that's ready to go, and you can put that on just about anything you would put on a red salsa. I think I'm gonna put a little bit over here. So I'm gonna put a little bit of our salsa verde on top of our tomatillo and black bean and red onion roasted combo. Looks very pretty and colorful and tasty. And there we go. Doesn't that look nice? So thank you for watching. My name is Laura Jacob, registered dietitian at Christie Clinic, and I hope you enjoy.